Chosen one, before you scroll, before you move on, there is something you need to understand about this exact moment. You were not meant to come across this by accident. There is a reason your attention paused here, a reason something inside you told you to listen a little longer. Because something around you has not been fully visible, not fully clear, and that is about to change. Archangel Michael is not bringing this message to you casually. This is preparation. This is awareness before revelation. And what is about to surface has been hidden in plain sight longer than you realize. There have been things you've noticed, small details that didn't quite make sense, moments that felt slightly off, but not enough to fully question. You may have brushed them aside, telling yourself it's nothing, that everything is normal, that there's no real reason to look deeper. But even as you tried to move past those moments, something stayed with you, a quiet feeling that something wasn't fully being shown, not in a way that created fear, but in a way that created curiosity, a sense that there is more beneath the surface than what you've been able to see. This is where most people stop. They accept what is visible and never look deeper. But you didn't fully do that. A part of you kept noticing. A part of you kept feeling like there is something missing from the full picture. And that is exactly why this message is reaching you now, because you are at a point where you can begin to see what was not clear before. Not because anything new is being created, but because something that was already there is about to come into view. Understand this clearly. What is hidden is not being revealed to confuse you. It is being revealed because you are ready to recognize it. There is a difference. If this had come to you earlier, you may have ignored it, misunderstood it, or even resisted it. But now, your awareness has shifted just enough for you to begin seeing beyond the surface. And that is why this moment matters. Very soon, something will become clear in a way that cannot be dismissed. It may not arrive dramatically. It may come through something simple, a conversation, a realization, a detail you suddenly notice that connects everything. And when it happens, you will feel it instantly. That moment where confusion turns into clarity, where questions you didn't even know you had begin to answer themselves without effort. Stay with this. Do not rush past it, because what is about to surface is not random, and it is not insignificant. It has been there waiting, and now you are about to see it for what it truly is, chosen one. If you're honest with yourself, there have already been moments where you felt like something wasn't fully adding up. Not in a way that was obvious enough to confront, but in a way that stayed quietly in your awareness. You may have noticed small inconsistencies, things people said that didn't fully match their actions, situations that seemed normal on the surface, but carried a subtle sense of imbalance underneath. At the time, it was easy to overlook, easy to explain away, easy to tell yourself that you were just reading too much into it. But even after you moved on, something about those moments stayed with you. It's been showing up in subtle ways. A pause before trusting something completely. A hesitation when everything should feel certain. A feeling that there is more going on than what is being shown. And instead of fully trusting that feeling, you may have tried to make sense of everything logically, searching for clear evidence before allowing yourself to believe that something is hidden. But not everything that matters is immediately visible. Some things are felt first, understood later. There may have been specific situations where you sensed that you weren't getting the full picture. Maybe someone's words felt incomplete, like they were only showing you part of the truth. Maybe a situation unfolded in a way that left unanswered questions, even if everything seemed resolved on the surface. Or maybe you simply felt like there was something missing, something just out of reach. something you couldn't quite define but couldn't fully ignore either. And what made it more confusing is that nothing was clearly wrong. There was no obvious reason to doubt, no clear sign that something needed to be questioned. That's what made it easy to overlook. Because when something is hidden beneath the surface, it doesn't always reveal itself through obvious problems. Sometimes it exists quietly, blending into what appears normal, waiting for the moment when your awareness is strong enough to notice it. You may have even found yourself going back to certain moments in your mind, not because you were overthinking, but because something about them didn't fully settle within you. A conversation that replayed in your thoughts, a detail that seemed small but felt significant, a reaction that didn't quite make sense. These are the kinds of things most people dismiss quickly, but you didn't fully dismiss them. You noticed, even if you didn't act on it. There may have also been times where you almost trusted that feeling completely, where you thought about questioning something more deeply or looking closer. But then came the hesitation, the thought that maybe it's not that important, maybe everything is fine. Maybe you're just being too aware, and so you let it pass. You allowed things to continue as they were, even though a part of you still felt like there was more to see. This is where awareness begins, not as certainty, but as a quiet feeling that something is not fully clear. And that is exactly where you are right now. You are not confused, you are becoming aware. And awareness doesn't always arrive with answers immediately. Sometimes it begins with questions, with feelings, with subtle signals that guide you to look deeper. The truth is, you have already been sensing what is about to be revealed, not in full clarity, but in fragments, in moments, in feelings that didn't fully make sense at the time. And now, those fragments are beginning to come together. What once felt unclear is slowly becoming more visible, more defined, more difficult to ignore. You are not imagining this. You are not overthinking. You are recognizing something that has been present all along, just beneath the surface. And the reason it feels stronger now is because you are getting closer to seeing it fully. Chosen one. Now you are entering the part where everything begins to make sense. Not because something new is being created, but because something that has always been there is finally being revealed in a way you can understand. What you have been sensing, those small moments of hesitation, those subtle feelings that something wasn't fully clear, they were not misplaced. They were signals. And now, Archangel Michael is allowing the truth behind those signals to come into your awareness at the right time. Understand this clearly. What has been hidden was not always meant to stay hidden forever. There are things that remain beneath the surface, not to deceive you completely, but because you were not yet in the position to fully recognize them. Timing matters when it comes to truth. If something is revealed too early, it can be misunderstood, ignored, or even rejected. But now, something within you has shifted. Your awareness has become sharper, your perception more refined, and you are no longer looking at things the same way you once did. There is something in your life right now, whether it involves a person, a situation, or a path you have been walking, that carries more depth than what has been shown to you. On the surface, it may have appeared stable, acceptable, or even positive. But beneath that surface, there have been layers that were not fully visible, intentions that were not completely clear, dynamics that did not fully align with what you believed. And because these things were not obvious, they were easy to overlook. Until now, this is not about assuming something negative. It is about seeing something real, because hidden does not always mean harmful, but it does mean incomplete. It means there was more to understand than what was initially presented. And now that missing part is beginning to surface. Not all at once, not in a way that overwhelms you, but in a way that reveals itself piece by piece, allowing you to process it without confusion. You may begin to notice connections between things that once felt separate. Moments that didn't make sense before may now start to align in a way that reveals a pattern. Words, actions, and outcomes may begin to connect in ways that show you a clearer picture of what has really been happening. And when this starts to happen, there will be a shift inside you, a realization that what you are seeing now was always there. You just weren't meant to see it fully until this moment. This is where clarity replaces uncertainty. Not because someone explains it to you, but because you recognize it yourself. And that recognition carries a different kind of certainty. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need confirmation. It simply feels true. And when something feels true at that level, it becomes impossible to ignore or dismiss the way you might have before. You may also begin to understand why certain things felt off, why certain moments stayed in your mind longer than others, why certain feelings kept returning even when you tried to move past them. They were guiding you toward this realization, toward this moment where everything begins to come into focus. Nothing you felt was wasted. Nothing you noticed was meaningless. It was all leading you here. And this is the turning point. The moment where what was hidden is no longer just a feeling, but something you can begin to see and understand. You are no longer guessing. You are no longer trying to piece things together without direction. You are now being shown clearly enough for you to recognize what is real. This is not happening to overwhelm you. It is happening to bring you into alignment with truth. And truth, even when it arrives quietly, has the power to change everything about how you see your situation moving forward. Chosen one, now that the truth is beginning to surface, this is the moment where your response becomes just as important as the revelation itself. Because seeing something clearly is one thing, but accepting it without resistance is something else entirely. As Archangel Michael allows this hidden situation to come into your awareness, you may feel a shift inside you that is not entirely comfortable. Not because something is wrong, but because clarity often challenges what you previously believed. And when that happens, there is always a moment of tension between what you now see and what you once accepted. You may feel the urge to question it, to soften it, to tell yourself that maybe it's not as significant as it seems, that maybe you're overinterpreting, maybe it's not worth focusing on, maybe things can still continue the way they were before. This is a natural reaction. The mind often tries to protect you from change by holding on to what feels familiar, even when that familiarity is no longer aligned with your awareness. But this is where you must be careful, because once something has been revealed, trying to go back to not seeing it will only create more confusion within you. There may also be an emotional response that rises unexpectedly, not necessarily strong or overwhelming, but present enough for you to notice. You might feel a sense of disappointment, or a quiet realization that something is not what you thought it was. You might even feel a moment of resistance, wishing things could remain the same, wishing the clarity had not come so you wouldn't have to process it. But understand this, clarity is not meant to take something from you. It is meant to show you what is real so that you can move forward without illusion. This is not the time to react impulsively or make sudden decisions based on emotion. It is a time to observe, to allow the truth to settle within you, and to understand what it means before you act on it. You do not need to confront everything immediately. You do not need to explain anything to anyone. What matters right now is that you do not ignore what has been revealed. Let it sit with you. Let it become clear in your own understanding before you decide how to move forward. There may also be a temptation to hold on to parts of the situation that still feel comfortable, to separate what you now see from what you wish to keep. But truth does not divide itself in that way. Once something is seen clearly, it reshapes the entire picture. And trying to hold on to only the parts that feel good while ignoring the parts that have been revealed will only create inner conflict. This is why acceptance is important, not forced acceptance, but honest recognition of what is now visible to you. You are not being asked to lose anything. You are being guided to see accurately. And when you see accurately, your decisions become clearer, your direction becomes more aligned, and your energy is no longer spent trying to maintain something that does not fully resonate with you. This is where your strength lies, not in avoiding discomfort, but in allowing truth to exist without resisting it. Right now, your role is not to fix or change everything immediately. It is to remain aware, to stay grounded in what you now understand, to trust that this clarity came to you for a reason and at the right time. Because what you do next will shape how this situation unfolds moving forward. And if you remain present, patient, and honest with what you see, you will naturally be guided toward the right response without forcing it. This moment is not about disruption. It is about alignment. And the more you allow yourself to accept what has surfaced without resistance, the easier it will become to move forward with clarity instead of confusion. Chosen one, now you are stepping into the part where everything begins to settle, not because every detail has been explained, but because you are no longer in the dark about what was once hidden. There is a quiet shift happening within you, a sense of understanding that does not need to be forced or proven. This is where clarity takes its place, not as something loud or overwhelming, but as something steady and undeniable. And as Archangel Michael continues to guide you through this moment, you will begin to see that what has surfaced was not meant to confuse you, it was meant to free you. You may start to notice that the weight of uncertainty begins to lift. The constant questioning, the subtle tension of not fully understanding, starts to fade. In its place, there is a calm awareness that allows you to move without second-guessing every step. You're no longer trying to figure out what is missing, because what needed to be seen has already begun to reveal itself. And even if there are still pieces unfolding, you are no longer disconnected from the truth of the situation. There will be a moment, simple, quiet but powerful, where everything connects in a way that feels completely natural. It might come through reflection, when you look back and suddenly understand why certain things happened the way they did. Or it may come through something new that enters your life, showing you clearly why what was hidden needed to remain unseen until now. And when that moment arrives, you will not feel confusion. You will feel recognition, a deep sense that what you are seeing now is exactly what you were meant to see. This is where your path begins to adjust naturally. You will not need to force decisions or struggle to figure out what to do next. The clarity you now carry will guide your actions without pressure. Situations that once felt uncertain will become easier to navigate. People who once left you questioning will become clearer in their intentions. And you will find yourself moving forward with a sense of direction that feels grounded rather than uncertain. At the same time, you may notice that certain things begin to fall away from your life without effort. Not because you are actively pushing them out, but because they no longer align with the awareness you now hold. This is not loss, it is refinement. It is your life adjusting to reflect the truth you have come to understand. And as this happens, you will begin to feel lighter, more centered, more at peace with the direction you are moving in. something new will also begin to take shape, even if it is not fully visible yet. Opportunities, insights, or connections may start to appear in ways that feel natural and unforced. And this time you will approach them differently. You will not rely solely on what is presented on the surface. You will trust what you feel, what you sense, what aligns with the clarity you now carry. This is how you move forward with awareness instead of uncertainty. There is no need to rush anything. What has been revealed to you is already enough to guide your next steps. Allow things to unfold at their own pace. Stay present. Stay aware. Because now you understand something that cannot be unseen. You understand that not everything is immediately visible, and that truth reveals itself in its own time. This moment marks a turning point, not because everything has changed externally, but because you have changed in how you see, and that change will influence everything that comes next. You are no longer moving blindly, you are moving with clarity, and that clarity will continue to guide you, protect you, and align you with what truly belongs on your path.